Okay, welcome back, everybody. Josh Weber here, CEO of Big Red Jelly. I'm joined by,
Joshua Lee, me.
yes, brand director. So that probably gives you a clue as to what we're going to be talking about today, brand guides, but specifically online brand guides.
Interactive brand guides is kind of the coined term, I guess.
That's a better term, I think, because
Yeah.
online, like, what does that mean? But interactive brand guides. So
Yeah.
we're going to jump into interactive brand guides. Let's start with the obvious question. Before we get into the interactive brand guide, just kind of remind the audience what a brand guide is, but maybe most importantly, what it should be and what it should do.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of in the name. Your brand guide should guide your brand. It shouldn't be a end all be all book or a reference guide that dictates every single move, but it should be something you refer back to constantly when creating new elements for your brand, when strategizing campaigns, when creating social media assets, items like that. It should be referred back to. You'd be looking at, am I using the right kind of vocabulary or the right verbiage? Are the colors right? Does the imagery style that I'm using match this one? Is the typography hierarchy correct? All those different things to keep that consistency throughout the brand. So that's what I would say is like the best use case for a brand guide. You reference back to it, and that's kind of on the designer, the marketer side of things. For the owner, CEO, maybe you can ask like, how do you use Bigger Jelly Brand Guide?
Yeah, I think something that our brand team does really well is I see brand guides or style guides. You might hear brand style guide, for example. I think there's a spectrum. And you've seen a lot of brand style guides from various companies. We all have. Some of them are one page,
Yep.
right? And just go over the logo and maybe colors and fonts. And then you have full blown enterprise brand playbooks that go into everything about the brand. And we kind of lean closer to that side, right? I remember intentionally a few years ago, we changed it from brand style guide to brand guide. Because if you were to flip through a brand guide, and maybe we can edit one in here, there's way more than just the visual identity, right?
Yeah.
You really kind of build it in from the inside out. And
Correct.
so for me as a CEO, a brand guide should literally be who you are as a company and how you choose to communicate who you are to the world.
Yeah. Typically, you get to a point like, I mean, we've been going through the Big Red Jelly Brand Guide recently, and a lot of the things in there are kind of second nature for yourself, for Zach, myself, just for individuals who've been here a while. You kind of embody the brand, and that's how it should be. Like the leadership, middle management, they should embody what the brand is. Like when we flip through our core values, it's I'm like, yeah, that's just like what we do.
Yeah.
So and that's how it should be. Those like more internal elements, those are the things that you definitely don't change, and you like refer back to them at least once a quarter. For your whole company, your whole brand, and that way everyone knows, what the brand is about, what the mission is, where we're going, what the vision is, and it really can create some amazing camaraderie outside of just the day-to-day work.
That's a good point. I'm going to come back to what you said in a minute because it's a good segue to the interactive brand guides. But last thing I'll say about brand guides, from a business owner perspective, I think if your brand guide, brand style guide, brand playbook, whatever you call it, if it starts to bleed into feeling like an employee handbook, a business plan, I think you're actually doing something right. Because you said something earlier, it should be something that you use regularly and you reference regularly. You use it to help you determine who's a good fit for your company, who's a good fit for your brand, right?
Yeah.
What's the voice of the brand? What's the voice of the people? Core values, unique value propositions, unique selling propositions, vision, mission, brand DNA. Like there's so much more that sets the stage for the visual identity. But something you said that I think is a good segue to the interactive brand guides is being able to use it, right? So now tell us about how you first came across the idea of implementing interactive brand guides.
I've been talking about interactive brand guides ever since being at Big Ridge.
Wow.
I remember I think I talked about that in my interview or something.
Yeah.
And the reason is because there's a lot of issues with kind of the old way of creating brand guides. They're typically in a PDF. You can't, if you are wanting to edit that PDF, that's the only one that's edited, and then you have to redistribute. So there is the possibility of having old versions of your brand guide floating around the ethos with inaccurate information. So that's one. The other one is that you always have to have like a Dropbox or a Google Drive or something attached to it that can allow you to download all the assets and actually do things. It's also really hard to keep secure, right? Only being able to share certain things to certain people. Not everyone needs to know kind of some of the core elements that are discussed in a brand guide. Your business plan, your more sensitive company viewpoints, and then the last one is interactive brand guides are phenomenal for hosting like video guidelines and motion graphic guidelines and sonic like sound guidelines. All those things are missed when you only have a PDF.
I think that was huge. I overlooked that point, I think, a lot, right? Because like you said, most brand guides are a PDF. Maybe they're printed out, and that's very stagnant. It's static. And you're missing out on all the other senses.
Yeah.
Sight, sound, motion.
Maybe smell one of these days.
Who knows?
You never know.
And then seeing one of the interactive brand guides that Joshua put together kind of showed me the power of that. I do think you need different formats for your brand guide, but this is probably the anchor point. This is probably the place to start. And it's easy to share. Yeah, much easier to share. When we share
and keep secure
brand guide with the client, it's a PDF, and you have to accompany it with a folder and a bunch of links, and things kind of get lost and disorganized. So I will say, Ben, one of our business development specialists, was pitching a really big company. They came to us for a rebrand.
Just a rebrand.
And it was the interactive brand guide that they really called out and said, this is what we need. Because they're a huge company, a lot's changing, a lot's moving, and they just saw the benefit right away of this is going to be a lot easier. It's going to save us hours of time.
Yeah.
To do marketing and advertising.
Probably millions of dollars.
Yeah. Yeah. So, what other key points would you say are beneficial in online brand or interactive brand guides? Is the process harder to create an interactive brand guide?
There are parts that are, but I would say the ones that we use, or the software that we use to create ours, is actually kind of nice because you don't have to constantly recreate the typography guidelines, the logo guidelines, and the color guidelines. It kind of just auto generates when you plop in that information. So that's extremely helpful. That was a huge pain point for my team. So it kind of did a double, triple win there. So it does things there. But when it comes to writing out all of the different information, you kind of have to do custom. It just kind of turns into a little bit of web design, UX design there, because it's online. It's that online experience, making sure your menu's correct and all these different things. So a little bit of a learning curve, but not anything too tenacious.
How easy is it for a client to use it, right? When they click on, so they get a link.
Yeah.
Right? They get a link, they click into it. It's like a whole branded experience, and they can hover over elements.
Yeah, exactly. Depending on the size, that's honestly another huge selling point for these interactive guides, is that they're way more user-friendly, or at least they should be. So depending on the size of the guide, some of them are just, if it's like a quick one-pager, so one like a home page, right? You just scroll down, you have the logo and everything. Those are typically, if we do like a style guide version. But ones that are much more complex and have a lot more information, you just have a side menu, little hamburger menu. Click on it, you can navigate to what you need. The other really neat thing too, talking about security of the guide, is you can, with these ones, share or restrict different links. So some of the pages can be password protected, others are free to the public, or that way you can kind of distribute it as needed.
What are some of the motion elements that you can do in the interactive guide that obviously you can't do? Like, give some specific examples of what.
So ones that I've done recently is being able to create GIFs in the guide. So we create it outside and then we bring it in, and so you can have like with Crean's Genomics, they had just some. I was able to show just like video, kind of background video scroll, which is sweet because then Ammon was able to implement that into the website really easily. He just downloaded it, plopped it in, and like that's kind of what we want too, for it to be super helpful for our web designers, because it's a pain for them to either deconstruct the PDF in Canva or having to dig through the Google Drive. This is a place they can get everything that they need all at once in the same place.
I've seen that a lot. I'm sure you can sympathize, where there's like an amazing visual identity of a brand, but it's static PDF, and then you see their brand video, their logo intro or outro, and the way it's edited is just totally cheesy.
Just doesn't match.
It's just off, or they have like a sound in the background. You're
like what?
It totally changes the experience.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I don't blame the person that's implementing that. They're kind of guessing based on what they see. But now being able to see again that sight, sound, and movement, I think is going to be really cool.
Yeah. So it saves us work. To kind of sum up your question, it saves us work on certain things, but also gives us more work because then it expands the horizon to do video, do sound, do motion, graphics, that's a whole new world we're entering in.
Any other points you want to share about interactive brand guides or brand guides in general?
If you don't have a brand guide, get one. If you don't know where to get one, I know a guy. And if you already have a brand guide and you're not sure if it's really doing a good job, again, I know a guy. Yeah. So
that's true. And I guess just tying a bow on it, what you said at the very beginning is one of the outcomes you're trying to achieve is consistency, right? And I see it so much with small to mid-sized businesses, even large companies, where there's just inconsistencies in the brand. There's so many people in marketing and advertising and sales and internally, externally, and people pick up on those inconsistencies really quickly, and that's what deteriorates trust.
Yeah.
And that's what decreases your sales. So do the opposite, right? You need a consistent, strong, aligned, clear brand across all your channels and platforms, targeted towards your ideal customer, and you're going to rock and roll. You'll see that impact your P&L. I guarantee you.
Absolutely.
Okay, thanks for joining us. Thank you, Joshua.
Thank
Till
you.
next time.